Welcome to this fourth session on vocabulary instruction. In this video, we are going to explore the topic of introducing words and meanings to students for the first time. There are three parts when it comes to introducing words in context. The first is to see, hear, and say the word, then to provide examples and non-examples, and finally to give a kid-friendly or student-friendly definition. When introducing a word that we want to coach, let students see the word spelling visually. Bonus points if you show off an image of that word as well when possible. This won't always be the case, but say the word to students so that they can hear the correct pronunciation and so that they can connect it with the visual spelling. Finally, and this is often the most skipped part, have students say the word aloud chorally. Second step is to provide examples and non-examples. When you introduce words, especially with multiple common meanings, you want to demonstrate those words in context by providing both examples and non-examples. I usually try to use 2 examples and 1 non-example. Here with the word vital, I would stray away from using the medical meaning of the word, such as the patient's vitals are dropping fast, since that's not the meaning that we are playing with in these examples. So, an example would be in areas in which water is scarce, it is vital that everyone takes extra precautions to ensure that no water is wasted. And a non example would be it's not vital that I buy more milk when I still have 2 gallons left in the fridge. Finally, you want to provide students with a student-friendly definition for the word, which often differs from the dictionary definition in a few key ways. Developing student-friendly definitions can be hard at first, but once you see the patterns, it makes a whole lot more sense and it becomes a little bit more simple. So let's look at the difference between the dictionary definition and the student-friendly definition for each of these words. Notice with the word fascinating that the student-friendly version isn't filled with complicated synonyms. Notice the dictionary definition of exception. It includes something accepted, which is not too helpful. Remember, our goal is for students to understand these words for themselves if they are going to develop their own understanding of them. So, our job is to give them an accessible entry point to understanding and using that word. And oftentimes, that means modifying what we would see in a dictionary definition. So let's practice putting this all together. So today I'm going to teach you this new word, and we are going to spend some time playing and practicing with this word. Our new word, peripatetic. Go ahead and say the word peripatetic. Say it one more time, peripatetic. At the beginning of the pandemic, my brother was peripatetic because he was a sommelier, also known as a wine snob. But with all the restaurants closed, he was forced to move around from house to house, couch surfing. When I was younger, I daydreamt of being peripatetic because the excitement of visiting new places all the time seemed magical. My lazy cat, though, who pouts around the couch all day in the same spot, is not peripatetic. Peripatetic means to travel from place to place. So, what we just did is those 3 parts, and this is surface knowledge. You know a new word, you see it, you heard it, you said it, and there were examples, non examples, and a definition for the word that was immediately useful. In the next session, we are going to explore some ways of how we can work with words after we introduce them to students. So, I want to give you a preview of what that looks like with this word we just used. When we work with words, we want to focus on their use across all levels of learning. So, surface learning provides students with that introduction that we just did and a definition. But it turns out we can actually jump into exploring these words at any level. Words can be more than just their meaning, though. Underneath the surface of each word is this ocean of context about the concept of what the word is. So, deep knowledge is the type of knowledge that connects a definition with its concept. Oftentimes, deep learning doesn't come out without conversation. So, you might ask students questions that get them thinking about this concept behind the word that you're introducing. So, for instance, the word we just learned, peripatetic. What do you think? Can a storm be peripatetic? Or how often do you think someone has to move around in order to be peripatetic? Deep thinking like this often only occurs with conversation or with writing about a word. So you are playing with what you know about a word in the hopes to develop an understanding that goes beyond the dictionary definition. Finally, transfer. Transfer applies ideas outside of the context of how we learned it. It is applying your learning in new situations. And we can do that with vocabulary through activities as well. So let's try this with our word peripatetic. How does peripatetic connect with soldiers in the Revolutionary War? So if you notice, this question takes the word out of the word list and it forces you to make connections to areas that might be new to you. So give this a shot and practice this skill. Choose a couple of the words you see on screen and select a few to develop student-friendly definitions and also examples and non-examples of each of those words and their usage.